So in today's video, I wanted to talk about something that a lot of my students deal with, and that is once they've mastered, or got under their fingers at least, the basic triad inversions on any of the string sets, they kind of struggle with being able to, see through to what the next part of it may be, or how to kind of keep progressing in that. And I wanted to share this really great exercise that's fantastic because not only does it work on voice leading, which is the smooth transition between each and every triad, but it also makes you work on all three inversions of your chords worked together on a given string set. And so to do this exercise, we're going to need to do a harmonized scale, and we're going to move in sixths. Now, these are diatonic sixths, so what does that mean? I'm going to give you the examples in the key of C major, and in the key of C major, I have the notes, or the chords. I have C major, I have D minor, I have E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and then B diminished. And now, if we were to go around those in sixths diatonically, essentially what that means is that we would go from C major to the sixth chord, which is A minor. And if you ever need to kind of backtrack this to figure it out, you can always take one octave of your C major scale and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we get A. So I know that A minor is going to be my sixth chord. If you need to push beyond that, you end up going from A, stay in your C major scale, and then play 6 more notes from A. So A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh, I played F sharp, not F. So if you go da 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 da, then F would be my next chord. And again, I'm going to act out this whole thing so you can use it to get into different keys. But we're playing all of the chords that are in C major, and we're going to move around in the relationship of sixths. There's also a cool trick to this that lets you kind of be aware of what inversion you're using, which also makes this a great one to practice for, your brain's connection to the material. But without further ado, let's get into the actual exercise. So we're going to start out here on the top 3 strings, and we're going to play a C major triad. So I'm going to zoom in on my left hand here and follow it along so that you can hopefully glean all of these shapes and figure it all out. But so if we start with C major, the next chord that I want is going to be A minor. And the way that I'm going to find that chord is I'm going to find the 5th in this C major chord, and I'm going to raise a whole step, or to the next note of the scale would be the key. So I'm going to take the note G, and I'm going to raise it a whole step, and now I have A minor, which is a 6th away from C. So we get... Now here's where the beauty comes in. I just played a root position chord that went to a 3rd and bass chord. Now if I raise the 5th from this chord, which is going to be E in the middle there, I get a 6th away from A, which is F. Now here I'm going to do the exact same thing. I want the 5th from this chord, which now this is a 5th and bass F major. And my 5th is on the bottom there, C. If I raise that to the next scale note, it's D. And now I have a root position D minor. Now, same practice, my 5th is on the top here, so I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to get B diminished. This is a 3rd and bass chord. So now, this, I need to find my 5th. It's this F in the middle. If I raise that up, I'm going to get G major. Now this is a 5th and bass chord, so if we go up, we get E minor in root position. And now I need to take my 5th, which is at the top, and I move it up to the next note of the scale, which is C. And I've ended my cycle now on C major there. And now this is a 3rd and bass chord. So just to recap what we did there and go over it again in case you're missing it, each time we play a chord, we find the 5th of that chord. So this is where knowing your inversions comes into play. You have to kind of analyze and scan and see, oh, well, G's my 5th and it's up top there. And then you go, what's the next note of the C major scale? And it's A. So then I get A minor. Now here, this is a 3rd and bass chord. I want to find the 5th. I have C, E, and A. I know that E is my 5th, or I figured out that E is my 5th. I raise that up to the next note of the scale available to me, which is F. Then I have that. Now my fifth is now on the bottom, so then I go to D minor in root position. My fifth's up top here, so that comes up to B. My fifth now is here on the B string, so I raise that, I get G. Now my fifth of this G chord, D, is on the bottom, so I raise that up to the next note of the scale, which is E. That gives me an E minor chord in root position, and then I get C over E. Now here's where this exercise becomes cool. You technically have 3 different starting points for any inversion, or for any chord type, I should say, sorry. You'll start in different inversions. So there, we started on a C major in root position, and by the time we finished the cycle, now it starts again and keeps going if I start from this C. So, from this third and bass C chord, my fifth is on the B string. So I raise that to A, which is my next available one. Here I end up with A minor over E. Now, to make this my next chord in the cycle of sixths, I raise this low note because that's where my fifth is on the G string. I get this F major triad. Now here, my fifth is on top, which is C. My next chord note is D, and that's exactly the chord I'm looking for, D minor. Now here, my fifth is on the B string, so it's going to become B diminished when I raise that A up to this B. Now, my fifth is on the bottom here, so it's going to come up from F to G. Now I have this root position G major chord. Now my fifth is on the E string, so when I raise that D up to an E, I get E minor. And then my next step would be raising this B in the middle, that's my fifth, to C right here, and I have C major again. And so we've started all the way from C as root position, we chased it up to here, and now we're all the way up here. So why don't we just keep going and see what happens. So this is from a fifth and bass G, or sorry, a fifth and bass C major triad. So this, I want to raise my fifth, which is on my G string. I'm going to jump that up to A, which gives me a root position A minor. Now my fifth is up top here, so I know I want to raise that to the next note in the scale, and that is going to be F. So now I have this, which is a third and bass F major triad. Now my fifth is on the B string. I'm going to raise that from C to D, and now I get D minor with the fifth and the bass. Now here I need to raise this A to a B. Gives me this B diminished in root position. Now I know my fifth's at the top here, so I'm going to bring it up from F to the next chord or scale tone G. Gives me a G major with the third and the bass. Now I need to raise my fifth again, which is on my B string. It'll put me right here. So that D climbs up to an E. Other 2 notes stay the same, and now I have an E minor triad. And then finally, I want to raise my fifth, which is on the bottom here, and now I'm an octave up, but at the same chord voicing we started with. So there's C major there. Now this works on virtually any set of strings, as long as you stay on the same 3 strings. And again, it's a fantastic way just to go through and systematically investigate everything along the way that gives you all of those different inversions. It makes you think about where your notes are, and it also makes you think about what chords you're doing. Now the next step for this is obviously to try it on all different sets of strings, and also make sure you do it in other keys so that you can fully investigate them. But I just wanted to share this really great way of consolidating all of this information about triads that gives you a methodical way to kind of work through and see connections that you might not have seen before. So I hope you found this useful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It truly helps me out more than you could know. If you want to take a guitar lesson with me, I'm accepting new students, and you can get in touch with me down in the description. I've got it linked there. If you want to support me in the free educational content that I put out here on YouTube, you can subscribe to my Patreon, which is also linked down in the description. All of my patrons get early access to videos, as well as some cool sneak peek behind the scenes kind of stuff that I'm working on. So I'd love to see you over there. Another great way to support me in the channel is I do have a video course all about triads. that you can purchase at my website, as well as a book that's full of scale and arpeggio diagrams, as well as about how to apply them. And last but not least, I've got new videos coming out every single week, so I hope I'll see you in the next one. And until I do, I'll wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have some fun playing the guitar.